Everybody, for tonight. So this video is definitely going to be about Will and Jada and this whole situation because it's Mental Health Mondays, and here we go. So somebody had emailed me, and I tried to find out who it was, but I couldn't. Emailed me and was like, oh, well, do you really have the book? I really do have the book. I went to the show that he had in Brooklyn when him and Spike Lee were both on the stage. That's an actual fact, and I have pictures for the proof. But that's neither here nor there. We're about to get into it. So what I noticed is this. Everybody has their perspective on what's going on. So I'm coming from a mental health perspective. Reading this book is very insightful to let you know how things transpired and why they did. Now, is he dead ass wrong for smacking the shit out of Chris Rock? Hell yeah. Dead wrong. He was dead wrong. I get it and I understand it, but he was dead wrong. So a lot of people are saying, oh, well, you know, he was defending Jada. Absolutely not. He was not doing that, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, this is chapter 1, right? The first line, if you can see it, it says fear. The first line, it says, I've always thought of myself as a coward. I'm going to read that to you again. Let me put it up here for the fact checkers. See that? You see that? I've always thought of myself as a coward. Most of my memories of my childhood involve me being afraid in some way. Now, put this down. What that says is this, is that man ego was tested. That was ego that responded to that. It wasn't because his wife looked at, that was his ego got triggered. His ego got triggered. And when you're in a healing journey from being a coward, like we all know what the word coward means. So it's like, okay, I spent my whole life being afraid. I spent my whole life. So now that I'm on this healing journey, and on this healing journey, I'm learning to stand up for myself. I'm learning how not to be a coward, how to show up in my marriage, how to show up in my friendship, how to show up as the man of my family. Don't matter how much money he making, to show up as the, like you want that, you know, and his was challenged. And you know, I'm going to be brutally honest here. I blame Jada. When she did that red table talk, she did not do it with grace. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, you my wife. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, you want to do your talk about the thing with August Alsina, because she didn't originally come and say, well, this is what happened. August Alsina spilled the beans, and now you have to explain yourself, Jada. Absolutely not. You don't conduct yourself like that in a relationship, any type of ship or friendship, especially a marriage. You embarrassed that man. And he was already feeling like a coward. The first line in the book said he's always thought of himself as a coward. Way before the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like, come on. Outrageous. Outrageous. When you're on a healing journey from whatever, you know, you get tested. You're going to get tested. You're going to get tested. At whatever journey you're on in life to change from one thing to another, you are going to get tested. That's like, I say it all the time, that's like you ask God, or you want a healing journey, to have patience, right? Your patience is going to be tried, because if this is something that you really want, it's going to be tried. His cowardness was tried. It was tried. And instead of just saying, you know what, I don't want to say a real man. I feel like Will Smith definitely handled that wrong because he was triggered. That was a triggered response. I don't care what anybody said. That was a triggered response. That ain't Will. It's not like, you know what I'm saying, you dealing with a gangster. It's not like you dealing with Will ain't a gangster. Read the book. He's not a gangster. That's not even in his repertoire. He's not that. That's not who that is. You understand me? His mental health was tried. And see, that's the thing. Like, when you're on a certain journey, you got to learn how to compose yourself. And I'm just speaking from lived experience. Because there are times when my mental health is tried. A lot of times. But I can't say what you can't do. It's not wise to respond in that way, because did you really learn a lesson? Did you really learn a lesson? Did you? You couldn't have if you still responded in the same way. But see, I feel like for Will, this was a different response. It was the ego response. That wasn't like, oh, I'm the man, I'm standing for my wife. Nah, I know what it looked like, but that's not what it was. And Jada could sit there and look at him. Oh, I understand that they married. I get that. And you move as your wife is offended. You're like, babe, just tell I handle that. You know what I'm saying? I handle it, whatever. It could have been handled in so many different ways. And then to put the icing on the cake, it's us. You know, us, the brown folks, black people. Like, come on, Will. Come on, man. That's what we doing. I just say that to say this. You got to be aware of your triggers. If you know that, when you go to these shows and events, comedians are on the stage and they gonna talk they gonna talk their things. That's what comedians do. That's what they do. As a comedian, Chris Rock was doing his job. That's what he was doing and having fun with it. And he was funny as hell. He was. I finally watched the Oscars. I was like, wow, Chris Rock is pretty funny. You understand? I mean, he's always been funny. I'm like, wow, he's doing a good job. Man, you doing a good job. He was doing great. And then because your wife got offended now, you tired. You didn't reach your point. I'm just gonna say this, and I know this is gonna sound brutal, but whose problem is that? You got to control yourself. Whose problem is that? When I know that I'm at I'll give you a good example. So the other, I forgot what day this even was. I was supposed to go out with a friend of mine, and a situation happened that switched my whole mood. Like I couldn't even get out of it. I couldn't even get out of the mood that I was in. And they're like, "Oh, won't you come? Get it off your mind." You know why? Because I don't want to be triggered. I cannot go in a place knowing I got an attitude already, because then it's just up and stuck. That's just how I feel. I know me. And when you go on these journeys, you're going to have days where you just, if that's the case, remove yourself from the situation. I swear, I really feel like if he'd have handled it like this, because I tried to play all the different scenarios in my head, because it's like, it's Will Smith. Like, did the Fresh Prince just get up and smack the shit out of Chris Rock with his 1,000 brothers? I don't think a lot of people know this. Chris Rock, they got a big ass family. They have a big, I think it's like 8 or 9 of them. It's a whole team. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just like, Will was out of character because he let his ego take charge. Sometimes you got to check that. You got to check your ego. Your ego will get you in a situation. So now you gotta backtrack. You gotta apologize. I would have respected if he smacked him, then he smacked him. I said I did what I did. So what? If he dies, he dies. If you did it like that, then it's like, all right, Willie Will. You understand what I'm saying? But that's not what he did. Now you backtracking. We have to have a red table talk about this. No, we don't. We ain't got to have a shit about. Ain't nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about. You was offended by a comedian that this is what they tell jokes. You know what I'm saying? You're a hot topic. You're going to be the topic of conversation. That's a thing. And your spouse did that. And I understand, like, since that's your spouse, you can't check your spouse in front of all of us. But it's when you read the book, the constant theme of the book is him working on not being a coward. And look, you brought somebody in your home that was mentally and physically ill to help them. And your wife took predatory action, call it how you see it, took predatory action against this boy. Not you sleeping with the disabled, no offense to the disabled. I'm just saying, like, come on. Are you serious? You took advantage of a mental health patient. Are you serious? And then couldn't even really admit and say, you know what? Well, like, I fucked up. Because she fucked up. Like, we have fuck ups. Things happen, but you fucked up. You fucked up. The nerve. And now he's coming, and now y'all supposed to be one. Like, when you're with someone and they're on a journey, you're taking that journey with them as well, unfortunately. That's what that is. And it could be good or bad. What I'm saying is this. If she wouldn't have looked at him like that, his ego wouldn't have been triggered. Now, Will is grown. So he should have been able to hold that down and talk to her later. And they have that conversation in their household. I get that. He's a grown person. He should have been able to control himself. I just know this. When he spent damn near what? In the book it says he spent damn near, Will Smith was like 50 something at this point. He spent 4 decades. Hear me? 4 decades being a coward. 4. Like, that's 40 years of being this coward. And now, inch by inch, because little by little, one gets false. You moving, you trucking along, all right. And this, I'm going to show up here for my family like this. I'm going to take control like this. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to be supportive of my wife and her red tables and all these other things going on. Will was triggered. That's the response that you've seen. And that speaks to people. You got to be mindful. But I feel like in this situation, Will was completely wrong. Chris Rock didn't do anything wrong. He tells jokes the way he always tells jokes. It was funny. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, he didn't speak about the entanglement. He didn't do that. He made a G.I. Jane joke. He made a G.I. Jane joke. Like, have we become so sensitive? You know? And this, is that a thing now? People need to get tougher skin. I understand when you're going through a healing journey, it's hard to have that tough skin. It's because it's like this. You're an exposed nerve. I'll give you a good example. That's like when somebody on drugs, right? And they finally stop drinking or drugging or whatever, because we use the drinking and the drugging to cope. People don't want to admit that, but you use it. That's why you do it in access, because you don't want to feel shit. I want to get time all the time. It's not reality. You know, that's not for everyone, but some of you out there are like that. Trust me. Lived experience speaking. Just saying. So, when you finally on a journey to stop being that person that's always like, because his cowardness would save him. Like, instead of him going like, no, I'm scared. No, I'm scared. That's like when you on drugs, like, fuck it, I don't feel nothing. I don't feel anything because you're constantly coping with this substance. You begin to feel like an exposed nerve, and your skin is the softest at that point. Not physically, but you can't take certain things sometimes, because this is a new you. You've been doing this. That's like somebody been using drugs for 30, 40 years and they finally stop. This is a new you. You can't just run and be like, oh my God, I'm gonna drink it away. No. You got to feel that. Will should have looked at Jada. I can't say what he should have done. Look at Jada. They've been married for a long time. Give it that ounce. I got this, baby. It's all right. Everything gonna be all right. Everything is gonna be all right. Everything is gonna be all right. It ain't that deep. He ain't talking about that entanglement. He ain't talking about that entanglement, honey. It just shows you how real people are. Like, even though they're actors and all that stuff, mental health is so real. You have no idea how passionate I am about it, because a lot of people, you would be surprised, the people that go through anxiety, depression, all type of stuff. And you like, paranoia. You know what I'm saying? Being a coward, trying to get out of that. Imagine your whole life being scary as hell, but you making all this money. You playing roles where you the one. You know, that's what you do. You big Will. Whole time you scared. You acting scared. You can't even show up for your family, being a coward and stuff. He said that his whole life. Let me get the book. Fact checkers, okay? I got the book. I read the book. The whole book. That's the theme in the whole book. He's telling you he was scared the whole time. The whole time. Making these movies, getting this money, going on tours, being this positive Paul. And being outright positive, telling people. I never forget, he did a radio interview on the Breakfast Club. I want to say it was when they had, when they was doing Bad Boys for Life, the last Bad Boys. And he was promoting, because you got to look at what people say and what they don't say. You got to look at both. In that interview, he said, he was like, what he said? He was like, you got to be your authentic self. Now, he's pushing this. You got to be your authentic self. That's the only way you're going to succeed. You got to be your authentic self. That's how you knew he was in the healing process. Because if you being a coward all the time, you don't even know what your authentic self is, because you're scared to do anything. Come on, man. It's deeper than that. What's the guy's name? What is the guy's name? Stephen Sharp is his name? I know his last name is Sharp. What? Shannon Sharp. And he was like, this is bigger than yes, Shannon, I agree, Shannon, I agree. It's deeper. There's no way you put your hands on somebody for a joke. About your. She looked like G.I. She had a hair cut off. Nobody's like, oh, fuck alopecia. Nobody's saying that. What are you talking about? You're trying to relate two things that don't relate. You know, you fumbled the ball on your healing journey. You got aggressive. That's the first time you got in the book. He talked about how his cousin had to fight for him and everything. It's in the book. Talking about he was defending his wife. He was defending his ego. That's what that was. That ego was like, I'm not going to take it. I'm not a coward anymore. You done came this far on your journey. I can only imagine how you be talking in your head. I talk to myself a lot. I'm not crazy. That's a very therapeutic thing. Trust me. Talk myself through situations, so I get it. But I just wanted to share that with y'all, because everybody keeps talking about tomorrow. Well, I want to be like, well, he was defending his wife. Wrong. Wrong. He wasn't defending his wife. He was defending his ego. He on this healing journey. Y'all trying to keep playing him. His own wife played him. Out in the public, he got to see memes about himself, crying, looking crazy every day. They get attacked. Could you imagine being that level of a celebrity and every day you on social media trending because you crying? That's the hardest thing to do. The hardest thing to do is heal in front of everybody. That's one of the hardest things you got to do. That's one of the... I'm not ready to share that story. It's one of the hardest things you got to do when you have to heal in front of the same people that criticize you, talk shit about you, talk shit about your spouse, or whatever the case may be. That's the hardest thing to do, to try to get past all of that. Some of y'all would have killed yourselves. Could you imagine being talked about like that every damn day on the social medias, on all platforms? He got tired. He got tired. And that's what tired look like. I'm tired. But like I said, ain't nobody, like I said, that's between him and his Jesus. You got to get that together. You can't respond like that. That's not what, that's a part of a healing journey where you what? It's getting a little wobbly. It's getting a little wobbly. I'm just speaking from a mental health perspective. That was definitely his ego that did that. For sure. For sure. He defended Jada. No, he didn't. It appeared that way. And that's good for appearances, you know. But the real deal is that you've been struggling with being a coward your whole life. And you about sick and tired of people playing you and playing with your family. So now you decide to say, hey, check it out. My account balance is no longer low. And here we go. Doesn't make it right, though. He's out of line. He's out of line. That was out of line. That was out of line. Will's actions was out of line. I can understand that. I get it though. You know, when you healing from some shit and somebody pressed that button, it's like, you know, hey, I tried. You know, but you know that y'all know that's not Will's character. Y'all can feel it. Y'all know it wasn't like this is like, you know what I'm saying? I can't even think like this ain't that ain't you. That's not you. That's not you. You didn't come from that. You didn't come. He didn't come from a place like that. He didn't. And it's unfortunate that he responded that way. However, I get it. I get it. Mental health is real. You don't know what people be dealing with. Today might be your day. People been talking shit about this guy for a while now. Ever since the August Alsina thing, he's been trending. Now, boom, look. Boom. Come on. He's defending his wife. He ain't defending Jada. He defending that ego that was bruised, and he got tired of it being bruised. And Chris Rock was the one that he like. You know what? This is Chris Rock, and this is what I'm gonna do. Like Chris Rock is that person to stall on. Like, why would you do that? Because your ego bruised. Your wife made y'all trending. Your wife did that. Nobody else did that. But since that's your spouse, I understand you gotta protect home. I get it. It's just unfortunate that this is happening. But I would like to say this. And anybody else in the mental health community can chime in on this one. That was ego. He wasn't defending his wife. His wife was not in immediate danger. That wasn't you defending her. Like what it was. And if that's the case, like what does that say about her and her supporting him on his journey? You know that man felt like a coward. I know y'all had table talks and pillow talks and talking and talks. Come on now. 49.